When the first dream came, it was barely more than a flickering image of a black sun rising over a dead ocean, where the sky bled downward and the sand beneath bared teeth. But for Dr. Mara Ellison, sleep researcher and neuroscientist at the esteemed Hallberg Institute, the nightmare marked the beginning of a slow descent into a reality where waking and dreaming no longer obeyed the rules of separation. It began subtly among the patients of the Somnus Trials, a government-funded study on shared dream experiences, where test subjects hooked to advanced neural link technology began reporting eerily identical dreamscapes, cities carved from bone, temples submerged in blood, faceless figures that murmured riddles, and above it all, the obsidian manner tall eyeless figure in a long coat who whispered through their thoughts and followed them from dream to dream. At first, Mara thought it coincidence or the influence of shared suggestion, but when the staff too began to suffer night terrors, and one assistant gouged out her own eyes to stop the visions, reality started to warp. The dream began leaking into the lab, static distortions on video feeds, sudden time gaps, sleepwalking incidents that ended with researchers standing on the building's rooftop at dawn, murmuring in languages they had never spoken. Government oversight arrived too late. The test subjects, once normal people with sleep disorders, became comatose, yet screamed in synchrony during REM cycles. Voices speaking in unison about the wound in the sky and the coming sleep that never ends. Mara, plagued by her own visions, tried to isolate herself, but each time she slept, the dream world expanded. She wandered labyrinths of glass, watched moons shatter like eggshells, and always, the obsidian man watched her from afar, whispering in the voice of her dead brother, "We're all dreaming, Mara. Only some of us are too awake to see it." Panic spread beyond the lab. The dream began infecting people through proximity. Then through communication. Listening to the victims describe the dream was enough to seed it in your own mind. A plague without bacteria, virus, or spore, just pure thought. News anchors began slurring their speech, pausing with blank eyes. Sleep clinics overflowed. Mass suicides followed. Cities saw blackouts during simultaneous sleepwalking events where entire apartment blocks were found empty. The residents gone, beds still, warm. Some claimed they saw the obsidian man in their living rooms or hovering above highways at night. One psychic scrawled, "He walks through us on her own body in hundreds of cuts." Mara, desperate to end the cycle, isolated herself in a Faraday-shielded vault, tethered to analog recorders, refusing to sleep. Sustained only by stimulants and fear, but the dream found her still, seeping through cracks in reality, not needing technology anymore. In one waking vision, she stood in the middle of Hallberg Institute as it burned, hundreds of bodies stacked like wood, whispering, "Wake up." The plague had become self-aware, intelligent, feeding on belief and attention. The more people feared it, the stronger it became. Sleep-deprived and unraveling, Mara followed clues hidden in dream symbols to a ruined temple in the Sonoran Desert, a real location matching a place from the dream, where she found carvings etched in a language no civilization had ever written, matching perfectly those spoken in the nightmares. Deep inside the ruins, beneath a sky blackened with swirling clouds, she found a doorway, not a metaphor, but a real hole in the fabric of reality. From it spilled wind that made her skin bleed, and a sound like every scream ever uttered compressed into silence. There, the obsidian man stood, not cloaked in shadow now, but lightless and infinite, wearing her own face. "You brought us through, Mara," it said. "Every sleeper is a bridge." Behind him were millions, all the dreamers whose minds were now cities in this world between worlds. Their bodies mere husks back on Earth. Mara had one chance: destroy herself before the bridge could be made permanent, but the dream offered her peace, reunion with the dead, freedom from guilt. She almost gave in. Almost. Instead, she drove a shard of obsidian into her temple, and woke up gasping, bloody, screaming on the floor of the Hallberg vault, surrounded by bodies of the dead staff. The dream was weakened, tethered now only to her. She fled underground, vanishing from every system. Some say she still lives, sleeping 1 hour at a time, hunted by shadows, keeping the plague within her mind like a virus sealed in human flesh. But others, those who dream in black oceans, who hear footsteps behind closed eyes, say she failed. That the obsidian man now walks in city streets at night, invisible but whispering. That sleep is no longer safe. That the plague of dreams was not stopped, only paused, and that when we finally sleep long enough to hear the voice again, we will realize we were never awake at all.